This section talks about the many different ways in which you can collect information. Most often, we only collect information by asking people, and sometimes that's not enough. People may tell you what they think you want to hear, or they may not give honest answers depending on whether they have vested interests in what you're doing, etc. And so we'll talk about how you collect information and who do you collect it from, and what are some of the ways that you can avoid risks associated with data collection. The first question you should ask yourself is, who am I collecting information from? Oftentimes, the end user is not the only person who's vested in your project. You should think about how your project affects other people, both positively and negatively, and who are those people? One time I was working on an immunization project in Pakistan, and after having worked on that project for a good 8 or 9 months, I was in a government meeting, and there was somebody from a private organization that makes software around immunization, and I'd never heard of them. And clearly these people weren't very happy with what I was doing because I was stepping into their market, and they tried everything to sabotage my project. And so if I considered them as one of the stakeholders, then I would have made sure that I knew how to manage these relationships. I won't go into the detail of stakeholder analysis, but there's a tool that we've incorporated in the PDF, and there's detailed descriptions about how you use this tool, so please be sure to read through that PDF. The second thing you should ask yourself is, how do you introduce yourself? Why are you doing what you're doing? And what are some of the cultural connotations attached to data collection? So for example, if you were collecting data in rural Ghana, you won't just introduce yourself to the person you wanted to collect data from. There's a set protocol in villages where you have to go talk to the village chief, and he calls in a village meeting and you explain your mission. And in that village meeting, you start by shaking hands with everybody, and you start from the right and you make your way anti-clockwise. And then after you've explained your mission, the village committee or the village seniors will deliberate and then give you your decision before you can start talking to people. And so understand that you need to introduce yourself, and how do you introduce yourself, and what are some of the ways that you need to do that. And the third W is, what level of participation do you expect from someone? Is it a one-off thing where it's a half-an-hour interview and then they're done? Or do you expect, or do you hope to co-create with them, in which case they'd need to be actively engaged for an extended period of time? And so what level of participation do you expect? And you should be very clear in communicating these expectations to the people that you're wanting to collect information from. The fourth thing is, when do you want to collect this information and how long will it take? And again, think about the cultural nuances when you're trying to collect this information. As a man, when I'm trying to collect information around immunization from women in rural Pakistan, I can't go to somebody's house when their husband is not home. If I need to collect information, I'll only be able to ask questions at the doorstep, and I won't be invited inside. But if I went at a time when the husband or the head of the household was home, then I'd be able to go in and talk in detail with the mother of the child and be able to collect the information that I need around immunization, for example. And then lastly, where do you want to collect this information? As I mentioned about this house example, sometimes people are more comfortable talking on a one-on-one basis, especially if it's a sensitive topic. At other times, having a group might be more beneficial, because when somebody says something, it might rekindle certain memories in another user, and they're able to share information with you that they would not have otherwise remembered. And so think about, where are you collecting information? Also think about safety, both for your end user as well as for yourself. And so while it may be more comfortable to collect information from someone after they come back home from work, especially since some of your end users will be daily wage laborers or daily wage earners, and if they miss work or a certain part of the workday, then they're losing income. But at the same time, you don't want to collect information after dark in a place that you're not very comfortable in or you don't feel safe in. And so think about safety, think about location, think about culture, as you think about what kind of information do you want to collect and from whom.